To help you prepare for today's exercise, I'll create a small program that asks the user if they want to generate a small, a medium, or a large number, and then generates a random number based on that. So I've started by creating a class called myRandom. Since I want to generate random numbers, there is something that I need to import, a class called random in java.util. So import java.util.random. And I'm also going to prompt the user for input. So I'm going to import the scanner again, java.util.scanner. Alright, let's create my scanner first. And I want to take input from the keyboard, so that's system.in. I want to be able to generate random numbers, so I have to create a random number generator. So I'm going to call it generator. New random. Alright, so I've created something where I can take input from the keyboard and a generator. Alright, so I'm going to ask the user if they want to give me a small, medium, or large number. So I'm going to system.out.print. Do you want a small, medium, or large number? And I'm of course going to read that as a string. Size. And I'm going to get that from the keyboard. And I'll just read the next line from the keyboard based on what the user has entered. Now if the size, and instead of a double equals here, so if I do dot equals small, which is really what I want to compare for, this is most likely not going to work. So in this case I want to generate a small random number, so let's say a number between 0 and 9. I can generate a number between 0 and 10, so I'm passing it to 10, and that is the number that it will generate. If I were to test this, this is not going to work properly, most likely. So I'm going to compile this. This is not something that you call on that. You have to ask it for the next int. And it compiles. Now if I run my random, let's say that I indeed want a small number, and I get nothing. Okay, so it didn't print anything. I can show you that it ends up in the else. That is not valid. Compile. And run. If I again enter small, I get that is not valid. This doesn't make sense because I did enter the text small. Comparison, when I'm dealing with reference types, if I'm looking at the double equals, it's asking if it's referring to exactly the same object, and in this case it's not. So I actually want to know if what is contained in the reference types is the same. So I use a dot equals instead. So it checks to see whether the data contained is the same, not whether it's the same location in memory. And if I compile this and run this and I enter small, I get the number 5, which is indeed a number between 0 and 9. Alright, let's continue this. Else. So I've used my basic if-else statements. Just like there is in Python, we can also do an else-if. Size dot equals. So let's check in this case for medium. Oops, I forgot a closing parentheses. I can do system.out.println, and let's generate a medium-sized number. So I'm going to generate a number between in this case, I want a number between 10 and 100, 10 inclusive and 100 exclusive. But the next int only allows me to choose something between 0 and some other number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a number between 0 and 90, and then simply add 10 to it, because now it's transformed from a number between 0 and 90 to a number between 10 and 100. And again, I can do an else. That is not valid. Let's test this. Let's ask for a medium number, and I get the number 48. I can run it again, and let's ask for large, and that is not valid. Alright, let's make sure that small is still working, and small gives me a number between 0 and 9. Alright, the other one that I wanted to check for was else if size dot equals large, I can do system.out.println, and let's say that I now want a number between 100 and 1,000. So I'm going to ask the generator to give me a number. So I want a number between 100 and 1,000. So how do I do that? Let me just ask for a number between 0 and 900. And I'll add 100 to it to make sure that it becomes a number between 100 and 1,000. And have that printed. And still have the else in case they enter something that is neither small, medium, or large. Let's ask for a large number, and I got a large number. So just an example program where we have a few conditionals. In this case, I haven't used any of the Boolean or the comparison operators. I used the dot equals, but in your text there is lots of the comparison operators which are very similar to Python, and creating a conditional statement with if, else if, and else statements.